What's up, guys? Good morning. It is Saturday morning and I just got done milking and straining milk, and I've actually got to take my boys into town this morning and do a couple of little errands. But there's a lot of action going on at the farm today. Jeremiah and I are dividing and conquering on the kids with birthday parties and errands, but there's still stuff happening here. All right, so Noah's here. No, brother Noah. Whatever. And Wes Green's here. Are you out, Wes? Oh no, you're still here. Okay. Wes came this morning and he doesn't have a lot of green growing in his house because he has a lot of trees, and so he's been coming and weed eating to take some green for his compost pile, but he's helping move some soil. So first I want to give you a look at the window greenhouse and I'm going to show you what they're doing. All right, so Noah's been working on the floor in the greenhouse. You can see we have the gravel, which is dug to drain out over here in the corner. And we're actually doing this like composite decking in here for the floor over gravel. It's something that can withstand water, but will look nice. Maya was just wanting to make it pretty. So it's gonna be pretty. Good job, Noah. So our friend Will actually has a dump truck, and he's the one who, when he has spare time since we moved, he goes and just picks up these loads of different things. So municipalities, if you'll check with either your city or cities near you, a lot of times they have composting efforts or mulching efforts, and you can go pick this stuff up for free or very cheap if you have a truck. Will brought this load today, which this is really freshly broken down wood mulch. And the reason we wanted some stuff that's so fresh is for composting. So that's what this is. It's the same stuff this other stuff is, but that is just more broken down than this. Now over here, these are the footprints for our high tunnels. Hey, Wes Green, good job. What we're putting in these right now is the topsoil that we scraped when we put our driveway in and when we cleared the pad for Jeremiah's workshop. One of the benefits of our property that we loved when we found it was that we had this really deep bed of good soil, because this property was used for cattle for like, I don't know, 20 years or something like that. And on this lower spot that comes down to the pond, I don't know how well you can see this, but there's a little bit of an incline that goes up on this property, and this is the lower spot, and then the pond, of course, being the lowest. And this being kind of the lower place, and because there were cattle here for so long, this bottom area where we're doing our garden belt, where we dug our driveway out, and where we're putting our home, has about 10 to 12 inches of like really good silty loam. It's very rich, it's good soil, and then underneath that is just like a solid bed of clay. And so we're kind of like breaking a permacultural rule and putting our house in one of the best places for intensive growing. It would have been ideal to maybe put our house on a higher spot, but we're following the permaculture rule of zones by wrapping our gardens around our house. So it was a little give and take. We are giving up that space, but we're gonna have our house completely surrounded by growing, which is very good. All of that to say, when we like harrowed up the grass and dug out the topsoil to put our driveway in, we packed it with sand clay and put the gravel on top of it. And then we did the same thing with a barn. We did the same thing with a shop, because we didn't want to waste this amazing soil. So now we have these massive piles of topsoil, and when it came to filling up the high tunnel spaces, now we are going to have to deal with weeds because this soil has grass in it. The thing is that just because you buy soil somewhere else doesn't mean it's not gonna have weed seeds in it. So obviously this is the soil we had, and to have bought this would have cost, I mean, just a lot of money, thousands of dollars, to buy soil this good somewhere. Weed seeds are not. So right now what we're doing is we're pulling that soil from those big piles and just dumping it here. And Papa T's actually gonna help us, and he's gonna be flattening this out. So I figured I would set it up for you guys to watch. All right, I'm gonna take a risk for the best angle here and hope that over the course of this next hour and a half that you guys are gonna sit here, that my cows do not realize that something is sitting on this fence line. I don't think they're gonna venture over here because they don't want anything to do with loud noises like this, but hopefully they don't, because they would knock this off in a moment just for fun. So in filling these, we're backfilling these with soil, and the next step here is going to be to build our high tunnels. We ordered our high tunnels from Grower Solution. It's been a few months ago. We had ordered them earlier than we knew we would need them because of everything just being back ordered everywhere. We wanted to make sure we had everything in time. Of course, they got it here to us super fast. So it's been sitting there waiting, but we're gonna be putting the 2 high tunnels up. I don't know how much I'm gonna grow in these this year. I just wanna do things well and hopefully avoid some work for myself down the road. So once we get all of this soil in, we are going to be laying down some cardboard. We are gonna go ahead and lay down some compost, and we're just gonna be getting spaces ready. Maybe we'll plant a little bit in here this year, but I don't know. Either way, enjoy a satisfying time lapse of soil being moved to my future greenhouse spot. All right, you guys, it's evening now, and I'm headed back outside to finish this video. Sweet Maya's out here. I was gonna see if he has a moment to chat with us about kind of the unfolding plans. I might be a little squinty-eyed. I've got a little lingering migraine going on, which I've been dealing with some. Several of you guys noted after our last video that the spring peeper frogs were kind of piping up at the end of the video. And this is new to me. South Carolina is not as cold as Arkansas in the winter. They're about equally the same hot in the summer. Arkansas gets about as hot as it does here. It's more humid here. But it is wild to me how springy it is right now at the middle of February here. It's really lovely, actually. I love it very much. So I've been asked a lot about our compost pile, which we started our compost in the barn. It got really cold right after that. It was cold when we did it, but it got really cold afterwards. And it wasn't getting hot enough, which was probably because we used that mulch that was so broken down already that it threw the ratios off a little bit. But we moved it out here outside so that it could heat up more with like the sunlight. We got a black tarp to put over it, and it is starting to warm up, so that's a good thing. So hopefully this will kickstart and start really breaking down. We're really eager to get composting going on a nice large scale. Our eventual hopes with Phil Burton, who has been really guiding us down. He's from Florida, but he came up here. He's coming back up here again. We're going to be doing some classes and stuff. And what he does is he composts and then uses that to make aerated compost teas on a large scale. And he actually sprays like agricultural fields, pastures for grazing. And so that's something that we're really wanting to learn, because one thing, if you're not like into what's going on in the agricultural world, one of the big things that's been happening that I believe we're going to see a lot really in grocery store prices is that the synthetic inputs, like the chemical fertilizers and stuff that a lot of farmers, are dependent on to grow their crops, those have increased in price, and massive price increases. Finding out these ways that we can do things naturally, organically, to benefit the earth and the soil, it's a pretty big deal right now. So this is something that we're really exploring for that reason. Oh, Ezzy, you okay? Yeah, no, they're not put in. It's okay. So sweet, Maya.
Yeah.
I showed this earlier in the video before these cross beams were in. Ezra, don't walk on them. Learn your lesson from the first time, okay? So you're filling this up further with gravel.
To the top of this
will be gravel.
Yes.
And then you're putting that composite board on top.
Mm-hmm. And because it's composite and the way that they fasten down, they'll never warp, weather, water, and dirt, nothing will mess.
And there will be like just little spaces between them so that
it's about an 1/8 inch between, so all water will run through
and then drain out through the gravel.
And everything slopes to that corner, so everything water-wise will eventually come out there before it ever fills up in here.
A lot of people have been like, hey, do you have plans for this? I just nailed down how I wanted to do this, the outside parts, 1 hour ago. Like, I came home from taking the kids to town, and I was having a headache, and I just sat out here.
It was a beautiful day.
Beautiful day. When it's beautiful like this in the winter, I just have to soak it up.
Feels like spring.
It does. It feels like spring. I sat out here with Noah, chatting with him while he was working on this. So the way that I like envision things is, I just have to sit and look at them until like it comes to me.
Then I have to be patient. Because I kind of like visualize the end product a little bit easier than she does. And so like I'll make suggestions, but if she's not seeing it, I just have to wait until she sees it. And we have to explore all the other options that she's considering until we eventually come back to what we initially said.
Okay, you made that suggestion because he suggested some metal around the bottom like on the last greenhouse, but I came up with the planters today. You did not suggest that.
That is true.
So anyway, we did start there and then explore all the other ideas, which were all good ideas. Yeah. And
then eventually came back to that. Now you also brought up the idea of the flagstone paths. That's also a good idea. So
my friend Matthew, he has a YouTube channel called The Southerners Northern Garden.
I'll unload this real quick.
Okay. And he has this thing that he does. He has it in the front garden and in the back, and it is so magical. And when I visited him in Ohio, we went to this place where you get like hardscaping supplies, and he buys this flagstone and he lays it down with space in between and plants this really soft moss, and it grows over, and it is just fairy tale. It's so beautiful. And I told him then I really want to incorporate this somewhere, and I was sitting here today and I was like, I could do that on the front of this garden. And since I'm going to put like my cut flower garden around this greenhouse, it's going to be my little ode to Matthew. So there you go, Matthew. It is so dreamy. It's so beautiful, the flagstone paths. So I decided today that that's what we were going to do. And that's why a lot of times you guys, like, we're just doing this stuff, you know, like we're just going along doing the things and showing you guys as we do. But like, we don't always have it figured out what we're going to do, even when we start projects, unfortunately. Now, I will be confined by what we've already spent money on. So I don't change my mind if things are already bought. But like I texted Jeremiah today, I was like, have you bought brick? And he said, no, not yet. I said, okay, I want to do flagstone. So, you know, flying by the seat of our pants here, just building the farm by the seat of our pants. So you saw the time lapse here. Now you'll notice obviously there's space around here because you don't want to risk the walls by getting equipment right up on it. So this will be finished off with a shovel. So this is going to need some more soil. It's still a little low. But something was going on with the dump trailer. It'll have to be addressed, but we'll finish this. Like I said earlier, I don't know how much of this we're going to end up planting this season. I mean, by this season, this spring and into summer. I'm just not going to rush it because I would rather us put the cardboard down, build up with compost, and really get this space well prepared and then plant it in a way that it's going to last. So here's where you come into our property. That's our gate, and that's a dirt road. And right now we have the pigs in here, but we're going to be moving the pigs out of here and planting kind of like an orchard in that area. That's why we've got the pigs just completely destroying that to get ready to sow that and plant it once they're out, and we'll keep some ducks and geese in there to manage the pests around the orchard trees, which will be protected while they're young, because ducks and geese, once the trees are established, they won't damage the trees, but when those trees are young, they would kill them. But you'll drive in here and we'll have the first high tunnel and then the second high tunnel and then into the garden belt here. And this high tunnel, I'm actually trying to think of something cool to do in here as far as the layout goes. Basically, I want to use one of the high tunnels for annuals. So I'll use it to plant like tomatoes and peppers every year. Why would you need to plant tomatoes and peppers in a high tunnel in a place like South Carolina? When you live in a place that is very hot, you actually deal with the opposite problem of cool places. So here, tomatoes start to really struggle like July. Because of the humidity and the heat, they get blighty, and the heat causes tomatoes to drop their blossoms, so they won't set fruit. It's the same thing in Arkansas because of those hot summers. By having a high tunnel, you can put shade cloth up and actually shade those. You can protect them from rain and water them from irrigation so that the leaves aren't getting wet, and of course the shade cloth. So you actually get more yield in the summer using something like a high tunnel. It just gives you more control over the things that are affecting your plants. So I want to have one of these high tunnels to replant every year. We'll clean it out at the end of the season, probably grow cool weather stuff over the winter. But this one, it's going to be some of that, some annual stuff. But in here, I'm thinking probably towards the back, I'm going to set up some citrus. Now there are citrus plants that grow here. We're just barely zone 8. So it's kind of like a fine line where you have to probably come out and protect your citrus a little bit whenever it's going to be unusually cold. But I'm going to go ahead and just put them in the high tunnel, and I'm hoping to grow a couple of different kinds of citrus, probably some smaller trees, and prune them so that they don't get too big in here. I really want to grow kumquats. I love kumquats, and I've never been able to grow anything like that, so I'm not 100% sure if that's going to work. I've been doing a lot of reading, and I found a few different citrus things. Apparently there's a citrus seller here in South Carolina in the Midlands that specializes in plants that will grow here. So I'm gonna be checking that out. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I'll share it with you guys when I find it out. Hey, sweet darling, you look majestic with the sun setting behind you. You're so silly. How you feeling on this beautiful springy day?
I'm choosing to feel okay. I could feel behind.
Oh, I wish my head didn't hurt.
Yeah, I'm sorry about your head.
Don't make me laugh.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. This would be better.
Look at that mulch.
I know, that's nice. You ready to compost it? I like how
I'm determined to be a good composter.
I like that.
I know you do.
I think that's real good. You're like, hey.
Hey. I'm a composter over here. Any gardeners around to impress?
Of all of this stuff, what are you most excited about right now?
That's right here in front of me.
Like the garden belt, what we're currently doing. You're just excited about your shop. That's all you talk about.
No, I'm excited about your stuff too. The window greenhouse probably.
It's gonna be really pretty. Flagstone.
All the details, all the deets.
Stained glass. There may be chandeliers.
Tea sets.
Jeremiah,
we're gonna have tea parties.
Jeremiah says that I have to get tea sets and have tea parties in my epic greenhouse.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm excited about all of it. I'm not gonna feel behind.
Good.
I could feel behind because, you know, like in an ideal world, I would be starting seeds like yesterday. Yeah. But it'll be okay. You know, the last few years they've got late frosts here.
Oh,
and
no,
so that means I'm not behind. If it freezes late, I'm not behind at all.
Will said it froze in April.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, right?
It is what it is. That's what it boils down to. I mean, like, I could get upset about feeling behind, but like, it'll be okay. So, thank you guys for hanging out with us today. I love sharing these things with you and showing you the progress that I can.
Feels good.
Feels good. We bless you guys. Until next time.